Hello children, let's revise the story Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. As you remember, they are in fact two stories of two different children who have been exploited due to their families being poor. One is a rag picker and the other is the younger son of a bangle maker in Firozabad. Let's quickly revise. This is by Anees Jung. She expresses her concern over the exploitation of children in hazardous jobs. Both these jobs are hazardous. And why are they made to do this job? Because of abject poverty and thoughtless traditions. And this results in the loss of innocence, hence the title Lost Spring. The youth, our childhood and our youth is the spring of our life. And these children lose the spring of their life working hard in bad conditions, in pathetic living conditions, and they have to go through back-breaking labor and hard work, and yet they are not able to get out of that vicious circle of poverty and they consider it as their destiny. They are left considering it as their destiny because they have no chance to break that circle. Now here we have two stories about two different children, two different boys. One of them still has hopes, the other has surrendered his hopes. Let's first quickly revise the story of Sahib-e-Alam, the rag picker. He is a small child who has no shoes and the author promises him shoes and also maybe a school education, which she cannot do it, and then she regrets that she is not able to complete that promise, and she had made that promise without thinking about the repercussions. Now this boy is a refugee from Bangladesh probably, who have settled outside Delhi around the Simapuri area, which was a landfill, and there they have got the voting rights because the politicians have understand that they are a good vote bank and they have given them a ration card from which they can get grain. So they have a subsistence kind of living. The pathetic conditions, the conditions in the Simapuri slum are pathetic. Yet the child is hopeful when he is picking rags. He thinks that one day he will probably, there is a brightness in his eyes, and he thinks that probably he will someday break out of it. But after some time, when the author meets him again, he is now working at a tea stall, and the freedom, the sense of freedom that was perceived in his eyes earlier is no longer there, showing that he has surrendered to his destiny, his conditions, and he has thought that he will never, and he has accepted that only this promotion is good enough for his life. Second story is about Mukesh, the son of a bangle maker in Firozabad. The bangle factories in Firozabad are in a very bad working condition. They employ small children. There is no light, there is no air conditioning, there is no natural light or air even in the factories. They work in little sweatshops, and by the end of their youth, they usually lose their sight. They are turned blind, and then they have nothing else to do. Similarly, their living conditions are also very bad. They live in downtrodden houses which are almost like shanties, and they have only the grain to fulfill their hunger. No other living conditions are aspired to. They have also given up on aspiring for anything. They are in such a vicious circle. They are afraid of the middlemen, the politicians, the policemen. They don't even have the ability to get together and form a cooperative movement, which could be the solution to their woes. But the younger generation, like Mukesh, still has some hopes. He wants to break this vicious circle and become a car mechanic. This is the chapter about. Now let's see the questions. You may find a lot of questions in the short answer questions. Some of these are here. First is Sahab happy working at the tea stall? No, he is not happy working, but he has accepted it. So he is not happy working about it. Happiness is an elusive feeling for them, these children. They are not happy, they have accepted, they understand that they have to help their parents in survival and they have to be on their feet as soon as possible, and Sahab finally has accepted it. Now, how is Mukesh's attitude different from that of his family? Mukesh's attitude is different because he is still not accepting his destiny. He is not accepting his conditions as his fortune. He wants to fight it. He wants to break the vicious circle, and he wants to leave this work, this occupation which is considered as his destiny because he has been born in that caste, and he wants to become a car mechanic. He still has a lot of hope in his life. Now, how is Sahib's name full of irony? Of course, it is full of irony. Sahib's full name is Sahib-e-Alam. That means the Lord of the universe, the master of the universe. But in fact, he is not even the lord of his own destiny. He cannot even decide his own destiny. He cannot even fight it. He has already given up. This is the irony. Why does the author describe the children of slums as partners in survival? Obviously, the children, when we see young children in rich households, we see that all their needs are looked after. They don't have to worry about earning. But here, the children's needs are not looked after. It is a question of survival, and they are, as soon as they are able to work, they are pushed into working and helping the parents in the survival of the family. So they are in fact partners in the survival. Now, why are people of Firozabad averse to cooperative movement? Because they are scared. They have given up. You have to explain that they have been living in this pathetic condition, and they have been taught throughout the years that it is their fortune because they have been born in this caste of bangle makers. It is their tradition. They cannot leave it. They have to follow this occupation only. So this is a thoughtless tradition that they have been following, and this has made them averse to cooperative movement. Also, they are very much submissive, subservice. They don't have the strength to fight back the middlemen, the politicians, and they are mortally afraid of the police. So they are under the nexus of this politician, middleman, police nexus, and they cannot fight back because they have given up. They don't have the energy or the strength or the education or awareness to fight this situation. Now, coming to the long answer questions, from this chapter, these will mostly be about your understanding of the laws and how the children are caught in the vicious circle. Let's see the first question. Why should child labor be eliminated? This is a very obvious answer. Every child has a right to, it is a human right to bloom, to blossom, to learn, to educate himself, to be nurtured, and here children are pushed into child labor, hazardous jobs where they lose their eyes, they lose their strength, they lose their hopes, they lose their energies, and they are caught in that vicious circle. So how can this be eliminated? Obviously, we have to have laws. The nation has laws, but these have to be implemented. There have to be checks by the NGO, by the voluntary organizations, and the first of all, the education. All the children have to be who are under 14 have to be educated free. That's how they can be taken to school and taken out of these conditions. This is how you have to explain the answer. Then Sahib wants to blossom but is nipped in the bud. What does that mean? When the author meets this boy first, he is very, very hopeful. He wants to break out of that vicious circle. He does not want to remain a rag picker. He wants to see the world. He wants to have a comfortable clothes. He even wants to play tennis. He wants to wear shoes. But when she meets him again, he is submissive. He is subdued. He has lost that sense of freedom, that sparkle of freedom in his eyes, and he has surrendered to his being employed at the tea stall. That is the maximum promotion that he can hope for himself, and he has given up to the circumstances. So a flower that could have blossomed is nipped in the bud. It was never given, he was never given a chance to blossom, to nurture himself. Now, how are bangles a vicious circle for the people, especially the women in Firozabad? Please explain. See, bangles are considered auspicious. They are considered a symbol of suhag, and everybody wears them. They are a colorful item and they are circular in nature, but for them, they are a vicious circle for these people who are not able to get out of this circle, get out of this abject poverty, the bad working, the bad living conditions, and especially the women though they will also get married one day and wear those bangles, but they themselves won't be able to see the bangles or the color in the bangles, because they would have lost their sight by then.